Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you are doing well. Happy Monday. We are going to chat a little bit about some of the processes of training, and then we'll take some questions. Latest article discusses a method that we are using now, last year and a half, been using every week in our system of seasonal tactical fitness periodization. And what's up, Mikkel? Um, that's a pretty good one. It focuses on, we all come into this game of training, especially if you're training for something in the tactical professions, especially on the spec ops level where it needs to be of greater importance because the physical challenges are greater. So your weaknesses have to be resolved. That means your weaknesses have to be much less of a weakness and bordering on somewhat of a strength. That takes time to do because we all come into this game with certain strengths and weaknesses from athletic history, from what we like to do. Um, and because we tend to not train what we don't like to do. Um, and that sucks. Um, but it's not necessary if you're in athletics and you don't need to be worried about long distance endurance because you're a sprinter or you're a football player, need to focus more on strength and power and gaining muscle mass and speed and agility work versus muscle stamina and running and swimming and rucking. So those things aren't really important depending on where you are coming from, but where you are going, they are very important, and you have to get good at everything versus just staying good or really good or even great. Let's say you're a collegiate athlete or beyond that. You're probably great, A plus at whatever element of fitness you're bringing to the table, but you're probably very bad at something you've neglected for most of your life. So that training time that you take from the decision, hey, I want to do this job, to actually going through the selection may be a significant amount of time depending on your abilities to improve those weaknesses. Sometimes being an athlete is very helpful with that because you can pick up things really quickly, like how to run longer distance versus sprinting, how to swim versus not swimming, right? Your athletes tend to pick some of those um, new skills up rather quickly. Not that non athletes can't, it's just athletes are more in tune with a coach saying do this and they're able to replicate that rather quickly. So, once again, we all come into this game with different strengths and weaknesses, and that's what that article is all about. In fact, I'll share it. It is all about turning weaknesses into strength. Maintaining your strengths without I'll just put that link in there. Maintaining your strengths without um, degrading them too much because you're not really focused on them, but you're focused on turning those weaknesses into strengths. So that is why I like to go through a periodization cycle that each season of the year is a different focus and a different intensity of that focus. So if you're not familiar with it, check out Seasonal Tactical Fitness Periodization Model, Stu Smith, and you can see more about it. You have questions about it, please ask. But let me do a quick little preview of our week this week because that's what Monday's all about. It's just kind of a preview of our week. So our workouts this week are mainly, in fact, almost 100% calisthenics and cardio. This is July. We're getting into our peak running weeks of the year, and we are doing calisthenics and swimming. So today was your standard pull up, push up, warm up. Basically you're warming up with 55 pull ups and 55 pull ups, short runs in between, just a dynamic stretch, get your legs ready for the 800s that are coming up. So we did 6 800s, followed by pull ups, push ups, sit ups, and dips. Some guys added planks in there too, just to give them a break. But when we did sit ups, they came with a purpose, just like the running came with a purpose. It's not just like go run half mile and don't even time it. It's time it, see if you can get it close to the pace that you want for your timed run events. So if you're trying to do a 6 minute mile, that's a 3 minute half mile. If you're trying to do a 7 minute mile pace for like longer paced runs, that's fine too. It's a 3:30. So try to keep it in that window. um, if you're faster than that, great. If you're not that fast, that's fine too. Let's try to make your goal pace at least a minute faster than your current time. That's what when I say your goal pace mile, if you're at a 10-minute mile, let's shoot for a 9-minute mile, right? If you're at a 7-minute mile, let's shoot for a 6-minute mile. But really, there's two paces you need to learn. You need to learn that 6-minute mile for shorter timed runs, and you need to learn that 7-minute mile for longer timed runs, like 4-mile timed runs, 5-mile timed runs, or 6-mile timed runs, depending on where you're going. But yeah, the pacing for the sit-ups is very important too. In fact, we just put 30 seconds on the clock when you do sit-ups, and your goal is to try to get 20 to 25 in 30 seconds. What that will do is that will train you to be on the pace for anywhere between 80 and 100 in 2 minutes, because it is a pacing drill. I don't care what you say. You know, you can use your hip flexors, your abs, whatever muscles you want, but it's still a pacing drill. And you starting off way too fast, and let's say you get 30 or 35 in 30 seconds, hey, that's great. Usually in the next minute and a half, you won't match that, and you'll probably get 60 or less than 70. Um, just seen it happen way too many times. It's a pacing drill. Start off slow, maintain your pace. Next thing you know, you're at 80 to 100. Don't start off too fast. Same with running. And then after that, we did a little cool down jog. So you probably got about 4 miles of running today. And then we did 50/50s. Some guys did 100/100s, depending on their abilities on the swim. Tomorrow is what we call hill day, where we run down to this hill. It takes about 2.25 to get there. Then we run this half-mile loop. We're going to add in some fireman carries. Going to add in some fireman carries and squats and lunges up this hill too. That'd be tough. And then on our way back, we'll hit some mile repeats with some squats and lunges. Swim with fins afterwards. Day 3 is our mobility day. One of my favorites. Just a nice, easy skill session where we focus on stretching, non-impact cardio. Then we go to the pool. We do all the drown proofing drills, swimming a little bit, mostly treading. Working on different various kicks to tread, egg beater, scissor kick, flutter kicks, all of those. Um, and then we kind of repeat the cycle again. It's an upper body day on day 4, max rep sets. Day 5, we do some beach runs with leg PT thrown in there, someone with fins afterwards. And then this week, instead of a third upper body day, we are doing a Spec Ops triathlon where it's moderate distances. It's 3-mile run, 3-mile ruck on sand or trail, depending on where we do it, and then a mile swim with fins. So that's our week. A lot of calisthenics, no weights this week, other than maybe some push press sandbags on our max rep set day, but that's about it. Joe asks, is there a video out there that shows a perfect CSS? Yes, I have countless of them. I have a lot that I'm critiquing poorly done CSSs, but if you go to In fact, go to this TikTok at StuSmith50, and you'll see a lot of them. Also, since you're on YouTube, you can go to my channel, the Stu Smith channel up there, and you'll see some really good CSSs as well. I do a 3-part breakdown video that really explains it. It's an older video, but it's still a classic, works really well. But yes, there are many perfect CSS videos out there. 6-minute, 7-minute, sub 8-minute, efficiently. That's what you're looking for. Okay. Was watching one of your old Q&As and you went live. Oh, well, that's funny. Good call. Good timing. Let's see. Hey, Stu, any tips to prevent or alleviate shin splints? I've written a lot on that topic. In fact, we used to have a doctor of physical therapy train with us every day. And he and I did an article together. In fact, called Fix Your Shin Splints with Dr. Physical Therapy Seth Donaldson. You should definitely read this. Gives you some good ideas on how to fix them. And then I wrote another one using some different style training. It's on military.com. A lot of it has to do with balance exercises. So one-legged stands, things that you have to balance, because when you balance, you are firing all those little stability muscles of the foot and the shin, and that is a great way to get blood up there, and can speed up some healing for you, but also just warms them up as well. So it's a good warm-up tool, and this has some really good ideas for you. You might be able to uh, start playing around with running and progressing, into running sooner if you can do some of these drills. So check out that article, those 2 articles I just posted on there. Let's see. Ishmael says, I passed my first IFT. Congrats. By the way, the IFT is the initial fitness test that the Air Force used to call the PASS test, which is physical abilities stamina test. So now there's 2 tests in Air Force Special Warfare. One of them is called the initial fitness test, which you take as a recruit and into your prep course. And then there's the OFT, which is the operator fitness test, which is a little bit different, a lot different actually. You got weights, you got weighted pull-ups. I think, no, you don't have weighted pull-ups. You have longer runs, longer swims. But if you Google IFT, OFT, Air Force Special Warfare, you'll see the 2 different tests up there. But these scores aren't horrible. Great pull-ups. Your pull and push could be better. Run and swim. Run's good. Swim could be better. How long should I train before I go into basic with a solid base? I would get those scores a little better. I would be closer to 80 to 100 on push-ups and sit-ups. Run is good. You could probably break 9 if you really want to push it. But that 500-meter swim could definitely be faster. Especially if you can use different strokes. Freestyle is going to be faster than CSS for most people. Practice that. But I would also not really go into basic yet until you've played around with some of the elements on the OFT as well. Because, it's all about getting to and through the training. And the OFT will be one of those events that you have to prepare yourself for. Let me see what the OFT. So in fact, I did another podcast on this AFSW past test, now IFT and OFT show was on a few weeks ago. Let's see. Just did a big article on both of them, and I'm just trying to find it. All right, so operator fitness test, 3-mile ruck, standing long jump, 5x5, 5-10-5 pro agility drill, trap bar deadlift, 3-rep max, pull-ups, 100-yard, or maybe meters, not sure. Farmer carry sprint. So you got two 53-pound kettlebells. You just have to run 100 meters, or maybe 2x50. I can't remember. 100-yard sprint, and then shuttle run with no weight, 12x25, 1,500-meter swim with fins, side stroke, CSS, or lead arm, trail arm. And I think you can also have a choice of 1,500-meter swim or a 1.5-mile run or 3-mile run. I'll have to double check. They made another change since I wrote this article. But yeah, you need to also practice treading and drown proofing and those kind of skills as well, because your pool time will be very challenging. You want to make sure you can tread with no hands, breathe on a snorkel, and take it out of your mouth, put it back in, breathe, and this is all while treading. So you're going to do a buddy breathe snorkel, so you and your buddy have to breathe on one snorkel while treading water and getting hammered by instructors. So there's a lot of pool skills you need to do. If you're good with the pool stuff and underwaters and treading, then yeah, sure, get on it. But I would try to get those IFT, OFT scores up as well, because those are very objective grading criterias that there's no getting around those, right? So it's you get them or you don't. Let's see. Started swimming about 5 months ago. Last week, I started to get a lot of shoulder pain, especially after swimming freestyle. Any advice? Um, yeah, work on your shoulder mobility. Maybe even do some strengthening. Also, what other stuff are you doing? Are you lifting weights? Are you um, are you doing a high rep calisthenics, a lot of pull ups, push ups, dips? That could all be contributing to your shoulder pain. Um, so you may want to ask yourself some questions like, what are you doing to contribute to this shoulder pain? And you may have to pull back on some of them. Maybe do some breaststroke, right? Or whatever shoulder hurts, let that be your bottom arm, and you do the CSS. That bottom arm's more of a skull anyway. It's not much of a pull, whereas that top arm is like a freestyle arm pull. So whatever arm hurts you, put it on the bottom, swim that way if you want to keep swimming. But also ask yourself the questions of other things that are bothering you. Is it weights? Is it high rep calisthenics? And all those other upper body exercises I mentioned, because that can also be a contributing factor to it. I see it a lot with running too, running and knee pain, mixed in with a lot of swimming with fins. That's why I tend to limit swimming with fins just on leg day versus 5 days a week, because I've seen people get knee and hip pain from swimming with fins too much. So consider that whenever you are swimming with fins as well. Those are two very common things that happen, but I would change your stroke first and start working on shoulder mobility. Maybe do a warm up for 10 minutes with treading with arms only. So you're just doing a whole bunch of shoulder rotations. You guys hear my beagle? He's letting me know that someone's here. Unfortunately, I'm the only one here, so we're gonna have to deal with him barking for a few minutes. Let's see. Next question. Any tips on how to improve upper body strength, such as bench press, pull up, push up, coming from a person with dominant lower body strength? Um, yeah, I mean, just make wiser solutions. Sorry about the dog, folks. Make wiser solutions on your split routines. Um, my suggestion is if you're also trying to get better at running at all this, maybe lay off the leg lifts and just do calisthenics on the legs, but focus on your upper body strength with bench press, pull ups, push ups. I mean, we usually do bench press, pull up, push ups all in one day, or you could split that up into a push pull cycle as well if you want to do that. Um, so, you know, once again, it depends on your abilities. I would say probably try bench press twice a week, but maybe hit pull ups and push ups 3 times a week on the same day, right? So 2 days would be bench press, pull up, push ups. One day would be just maybe a PT pyramid or something to get some volume up there. If you want to make it a real strength versus a muscle stamina issue, then you should, add a weight vest or something to your maybe once or twice a week. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Regular 500-yard swim. Is that the CSS? Regular name? No, you can swim freestyle with that too. Sorry. Parker, come here. Settle down. Come here. Jesus. Sorry about that, folks. Speaking, swimming for SFAS, 60 yards, and OCP and boots. How do you recommend? I found it totally different than without. Oh yeah, huge difference. Glad you practiced it beforehand because it sucks. Swimming with clothes and boots on is not fun. What I would suggest is take a Google search, go on YouTube, and look up elementary side stroke. That is the way I would do that. Your head's out of the water the whole time, and you're just kind of, kicking, and you're not going to glide. So it's kind of just pulling, kick, kick, pull, kick, pull, kick, pull. Keep your head out of the water, and you're kind of swimming diagonally because you got all that stuff on. You'll get over there eventually, but it's only 50 yards. So I've seen people who can't swim very well still pass that test. People who can swim very well, it's just different than actual swimming. It's more of a think of it more of as like almost treading water, but you're moving, right? Because you're kind of this diagonal tread trying not to sink. But the elementary side stroke is a great one to add to that. So give that a shot. How much weight do you recommend with rucking? Should you focus on weight or distance? I mean, it depends. I mean, are you preparing for a military training program? Are you doing a go ruck? You just rucking for fun? Um, Regardless, both weight and distance need to be progressively increased, not just one day you're going to go for a 20-mile ruck with 50 pounds in your backpack. Don't do that. I would say if you're going to that be a goal of yours, maybe take 4 or 5 months to build up to that kind of distance and that kind of weight. Start off with 25 pounds, 3 or 4 miles, a couple of days a week. We usually do rucking on leg days, so twice a week max. Um, Maybe a third if it's just like a spec ops try type of deal, like a run swim ruck type combo. But primarily, I only do twice a week rucking, and there might happen to be my leg days. But yeah, it's all about progression. In fact, there's a great article um, on Stu Smith Fitness that talks about rucking progression, and it's called Rules of Rucking. So check this out. That's an article. Let's see. Currently doing 21 pull-ups at max to increase the amount. Should I add more weighted pull-ups or more sets of body weight? If with weighted, how many reps and sets should I do more pull-up pyramids? You know what, to be honest with you, more is not better when you're trying to increase your yes, you need to have some steady volume, but don't increase the days per week that you're doing this. I would say 3 times a week maximum should you be doing pull-ups, especially at this kind of volume. You need recovery time in between those days of big pull-ups. Where people screw up is they think, I'm at 21 pull-ups, I'm trying to get 30, for whatever reason. Personally, I think 21 is plenty. It's a great number of pull-ups. I would work on some other weakness if I could do 21 pull-ups before a screener or some kind of selection, because you may be ignoring something just to get better at something you're already good at. A lot of people make this mistake. But if your goal is to get good at pull-ups, I would say, even better at pull-ups, I would say, yeah, do a once a week with weighted pull-ups, but also do um, another 2 workouts with higher volume, bigger sets. So what I've seen people do really well, instead of doing a whole lot of pyramids with this kind of goal, they do the max rep set. So try to get 100 pull-ups, but also mix in push-ups and abs and other exercises, so it's an active rest. Throw in a run in there too every set, but try to get 100 pull-ups in as few sets as possible. See if you can do that in 5 sets, 6 sets, and then eventually you're going to find yourself able to do that in 4 sets. So that means you're doing 25 plus. My personal suggestion would be do 1 weight vest day of pull-ups and moderate. You can do a pyramid with that. I mean, go up as high as you can until you fail and then come back down. I think that's a great way to do weighted pull-ups, for this goal. Then you do just a normal pull-up workout. Let's say, supersets, maybe volume builds up to like 100 or so. Moderate sets don't have to be necessarily max rep sets. And then the third time you do it, of the week, maybe give yourself 2 days off. So like a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. On that Saturday, make it a max rep set day where you're trying to get 100 pull-ups in as few sets as possible. Basically treat it like a Murph, try to get a Murph in as few sets as possible. We've had guys do it in 3 and 4 sets. I would say most people get it done in 5 or 6 sets with that. And the way it looks is this. So you max rep set your pull-ups, max rep set your push-ups, 2-minute test on sit-ups, run a quarter mile, and that's the end of the first set. You come back to pull-ups, do it again. Pull-ups, do it again. And then next thing you know, you've reached 100 pull-ups in those 4 or 5 sets. That's a good workout. That will make you past those perceived limitations on pull-ups for sure. Just a way to do it. That's the way I would do it instead of doing daily pull-ups. Get to the pool, Joe Gunner. Good job. Are team members more fit or in shape than people freshly graduated from buds? Good question. I would say team members are healthier overall, um, definitely stronger, and overall, like I said, overall healthier. because they're just smarter with their training. Buds isn't something that you want to do to get in shape, right? Buds is a butt kicker that I remember finishing Buds, and I was 23 years old. I had started working out when I was 13 years old and probably never really missed many workouts, 5, 6 days a week, always working out for 10 years. When I finished Buds, I didn't want to work out for a very long time. I mean, I did, and I was just muddling through some old weightlifting workouts. I definitely didn't want to run. I jogged a little bit. Swimming wasn't too bad, but I mean, it was a butt kicker to a point where, yeah, I was in good shape at the end of Buds, but I was also almost broken, borderline beat down, tired, needing to recover. So Buds is not like the ideal training program, right? It is a testing program to see if you really have it. Yes, do they build you up at the end? Absolutely. But I would say if anything, Bud students are probably better runners than the team guys. Though depending on what you specialize in at the team, you might be a really good runner because you do triathlons, or you're not one of the guys that are in the gym getting big and strong versus fast on runs. Though you still have to run, so everybody's decent at running. They're just not great at it, maybe like they were at Buds. Okay, one more time here. Thank you for your advice on numbers. Would you recommend, along with your past test book, also start transitioning to the fall book while working on the OFT aspects for basic? In that past book, there's, if you read the description for that, in fact, I'll put it in here. Um, there's actually updated for the OFT in there too. So it's brand new update. So there's an OFT section in there too. So check this out. I think I mentioned it that it was. Yeah. So basically, new Air Force Special Warfare Prep Course Update 2021, IFT, formerly the Past Test Focus, Water Confidence Events, and Operator Fitness Test. That is the focus of this program. It's a good one. And if you buy it, you use a Compete 20 code. Use this code at stewsmithfitness.com and you will save 20%. Let's see. All right. Joe asks, are calisthenics and recon the same as in Buds? Calisthenics are the same just about anywhere. There's push-ups, there's sit-ups, there's flutter kicks, there's pull-ups, there's dips, there's burpees. Yes, so calisthenics are the same. Are they the same reps and set schemes? Probably similar. I wouldn't say they're the same. Reading Reno's book. You mean Remy's book? Remy Adeleke book right now, and is one of the best books I've ever read for sure. Yeah, Remy's great. And by the way, it's Remy Adeleke. Let's see if I have his book. I know I have his book somewhere. I don't see it, but I have it. Let me see what it's called, just so people know what you're talking about. Called Transformed. A Navy SEAL's unlikely journey from the throne of Africa to the streets of the Bronx to defying all odds. Yeah, I had him on my podcast twice. Tactical Fitness Port, we did a story, basically his 2 through and after. So you can check that out on the Tactical Fitness Report 2 through and after podcast. Pretty good. Done a few like that. Did one with Eddie Gallagher, 2 through and after. did one with John John B. Allen. Sorry, um, he's really taken off on social media with his stories of the dark, strange, and mysterious. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. But yeah, check this out. These are all my to, through, and after podcasts. Most of them are with Spec Ops guys, but I do a few. See, I got Jason Sweet on there, who's does SOCOM Athlete. Jake Zwig on there, guys that create frog fuel. Got a Air Force CCT, who's a Go Ruck cadre. Skidmore. Another Navy SEAL, Dubois. Dog handler, Will Chesney. Whose dog was on the Bin Laden raid. Kaj Larson, another PJ. Marsoc Raider, Nick Kumalatsos. Jeff Nichols, of course. Jason Higgins. Dan Luna. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of good ones in here. Nick Hayes. John Allen. Oh, yeah, there is. Remy, Transformed. To, through, and after. With Navy SEAL Remy Adeleke. So, yeah, check that out. Let's see. When doing strength cycles, do you recommend doing any longer runs or only intervals? Currently doing 4x upper body, lower body a week, 2 to 3 swims, and 1 long ruck a week. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I will say this: if you're trying to get better at running, sometimes heavy leg days don't fit in well with that same cycle. So, let that be a warning to you. So I use strength cycles as a cycle that I know I'm also not trying to improve my running at the same time. I'm trying to maintain it, but I'm not trying to improve it. So right now, we are trying to improve running and swimming. So we're not lifting heavy right now. But in the fall and the winter, we will actually try to get stronger, maintain our endurance, not try to improve our endurance, as the two don't really mix. Because what happens if you're trying to improve your endurance and improve your strength at the same time, both don't improve very well together. In fact, you may even see negative results with some of them, depending on your lift rate of weight and abilities in lifting. So anyway, over the years, I have just found that endurance and muscle stamina work really well together. Strength, power, speed, agility also works really well together. And that's why I kind of split those two up. Still try to maintain the strengths while we work on weaknesses, and vice versa, depending on what cycle that is. Any difference between you and Jake Zwig courses? Trying to decide which course to take. You figure it out yourself. I don't know anything about Jake Zwig's courses other than he's got a PDF that he floats out there. I don't know. Can't tell you. So find something that works for you. If you do one and it's not working for you, do the other. That is how it works. I have a way to train, not the only way to train. Okay. If anybody tells you they have the way to train, they're full of crap. Okay. Because there's not just one way to do this, and no one size fits all. Sometimes you might need some personalized training just because the generic programming is not working for you, or you need to find a generic program that works for you. I don't know. Yeah, Mikhail, I would say, yeah, definitely. You need to be in that lift mode with your running experience. You're already good at running. Let's put some strength on top of it. Aside from training intervals to build endurance, what else is critical for building sprint speed? Sprints, hills, jumps, lifting, power. Um, we do a lot of stuff. We do hills, we do beach, not just long steady runs, but we also do beach sprints in the sand. Really tough. Try to do a 500-meter sprints in soft sand. Not fun. Not fun. Very challenging. Um, yeah, whole bunch of options out there for you. Let's see. Looks like that's about all the questions I see. Where do you work out with people in your course? I'm in Maryland. So, yeah, Severna Park, Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland. We usually bounce between the two towns, and they're about 10 minutes apart, and do workouts there. So that's where you see pictures of my guys and me doing running, swimming, rucking, beach, hills, lifting, all of that. It's a lot of fun. Get a lot of people from out of state coming to visit and training with us, and you know it's fun and it's free. Can't argue with the price. Yes, I do free training. It is, in fact, if you go to www.heroesoftomorrow.org, I spelled it right. Um, you can see what we're talking about. Heroesoftomorrow.org. That gives you our schedule, and a little video on there explains what we do and why we do it. You said you've seen people get their swim time sub 8 in less than a month of swimming. Yes, but it also took learning the technique that I taught them. And then on top of that, once they've learned the technique and are able to swim a 48-second 50, then all it is just getting them in shape to do a 48-second 50 10 times. And that, we do that with the 50-50 workout or the yeah, you need to read my 50-50 workout. Hang on, I'll post it. First, they learn how to swim from me teaching them, and they get their strokes down to about a 48-second 50 and about 5 or 6 strokes per length. Then they do this workout. And obviously, some people it takes a little longer to learn the stroke, but once you learn the stroke and you got your technique down, it's just a matter of conditioning to do this. So, yeah, read that article I just posted. That is the winning ticket right there. And it's free. Right? It's also in my programs too, but it's a good workout to supplement into the program as well. If you like doing it, add it in there. Nothing wrong with an extra 1,000 meters of, hard swimming, to any program. Any better terrains to run on if you don't want to make shin splints worse? Yeah, you know what? Whenever we are doing a lot of mileage, like right now, um, we run trails. We run on the track. We run on the turf on the inside of the track, is what we did this last week. One day, we run on the beach, soft sand. Um, so, I mean, the other 3 days that we're running maybe have a combination of concrete or asphalt. But even then, like tomorrow's a hill day and it's on a paved hill, but along the side of it is all grass. So you have an opportunity to run just all grass if you want. And what I try to do is just if I'm running 6 or 7 miles, let's say, in that workout, to run to the hill, run the hill multiple times, and then run back, I will probably get at least 70% of it done on the side of the pavement. versus 100% of that mileage. So I may only run on the pavement for 2 or 3 miles, and the other 4 or 5 miles will be all on the softer terrain. That has helped me tremendously, as well as many other guys that are, in a high mileage running cycle. How often do you include specifics core training? We mix it up. Sometimes it'll be, the typical sit ups, flutter kicks, leg levers on upper body days. Sometimes we'll make it lower body days too. Sometimes we'll mix it with swimming. Um, you got your fins on, you do those big flutter kicks on the pool deck. Um, that's another way to work those hip flexors. Um, oh, wow. Okay. See some questions here. You guys are starting to pop out some questions. Um, yeah, but I usually 3 or 4 times a week work some core stuff in there. A lot of times I like to do, like, if I'm doing pull-ups, yeah, I like to do sit-ups if I'm, taking a sit-up test, but I don't have to take a sit-up test anymore. So I will mix it up a lot. I'll do TRX stuff, I'll do hanging knee ups, I'll do flutter kicks, leg levers. I'll do a few sit-ups, but I'll do some plank poses. Um, I recommend a wide variety because the core is a lot more than just abs. It's hip flexors, it's, obliques, it's lower back, it's upper back. So, you need to work all of that, you know, to actually utilize the core system versus just doing abs. Any suggestions for stretching the shoulders to get swimming streamlined down? Um, Yeah, I would go to YouTube and just follow some swimming stretches. There's a ton of them out there, but your goal is to be able to put your biceps on your ears and lock out. Like, I usually use this thumb to put it right there, lock out your arms right here. Big long circles, lightweight shoulder workouts are good. um, yeah, there's so many. Arm shoulder stretches. I mean, it. Yeah, my suggestion is go to YouTube, find some swimmers that are stretching, and you'll see some really good shoulder mobility exercises. Um, how important is LSS heart rate control jogging to you? I mean, I like playing with heart rates. Um, I personally, I personally like to avoid um, slow running, just because I have found that slow running for non-runners, right? So you got to remember, not everybody's wanting to do cross country or be on a track team. So building an aerobic base with slow running, lower heart rate stuff, I have found that tends to just bring on shin splints, fasciitis, knee tendonitis to non-running guys that are just putting in way too many miles. So we tend to build up, um, you know, aerobic base with um uh what you call it, with non-impact cardio. So anyway, that's something I like to talk about quite a bit, and have over many of these shows. We tend to treat running conditioning to non-runners like we would a triathlete. So 1/3 running, 1/3 swimming, 1/3 biking. So 2/3 of your cardio is going to be more non-impact cardio. Make that 1/3 of your running be focused on pace and getting faster, whereas the other two methods of cardio can be more focused on building a aerobic base type training and not adding too many miles too soon. Eventually, you could, do more longer distance running, but I recommend people build up to it versus start out with it. What is the 18X thing? Joe, you should Google it because it's a thing. It is a recruiting program in the Army that gets people directly to Army SF. That is what it is. What if I don't know how to freestyle swim? Take lessons. How would you program swimming? End goal for me is 20-minute, 1 kilometer with breaststroke. Breaststroke is primarily used by the draggers. I don't do a whole lot of breaststroke. I usually do it as a rest stroke more than for time. Though 20-minute 1000 is not a hard time for breaststroke. I mean, that's a 10-minute 500. So you should be able to do that with some breaststroke practice. My suggestion is maybe get some breaststroke lessons and really learn how to do the breaststroke kick, because a lot of people don't know how to breaststroke kick. And it's a very powerful kick, especially if you're coming from being a land athlete. I would suggest getting some lessons on actually kicking with the breaststroke, because it's not opening and closing your legs like you're doing jumping jacks. It's actually pushing water with the inside of your shins and the inside of your foot. Your feet are out like this and they come in together. So it is whoosh. So like a whip kick from the knees down, and all your, the inside of your shin and the inside of your foot are pushing water backwards so you go forward. So get some lessons on that one for sure. Let's see. I think I just asked that question. Um, yes, these lives stay on this channel, so all of my lives are on here. So you can just go to YouTube, search my channel, and you'll see all the lives Q&As on here. Am a swimmer and having trouble learning combat side stroke. That's odd. Most swimmers pick this up pretty quickly. 50-meter time off the blocks is 28. Freestyle 104. That's great. Here's the way you have to think about the CSS. All right. And usually from me coaching a swimmer, all I have to do is say, do this, and you understand what I'm talking about. You don't really have to practice that much. Where swimmers go wrong is they don't glide. They just think they just got to keep on going. Well, one, they're in shape to do that, but you got to remember, this is the first event of a fitness test, and you got pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, not in that order, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and a 1.5 mile run right after that. So you don't want to blow it all in the swim, be great at your swim and suck on everything else. Just come in there good, just get under 8 minutes, which should be real easy for a swimmer to be able to do. So here's how you do it from a swimming perspective. You're going to do your first part of the stroke is a freestyle arm pull and turn to breathe, just like freestyle, nothing different. But instead of coming out and recovering underneath, you're going to use a bottom arm like a breaststroke and recover like you're doing breaststroke. Keep your head down, right? And do whatever kick you want to do. I prefer a scissor kick. Most swimmers will do a breaststroke kick. So top arm is freestyle, bottom arm is breaststroke, recover with a kick, and recover like a breaststroke and hold that glide for 3 Mississippis. All right. So if you do this, you follow this article, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the cadence you need to talk about while you are training. It's pull, breathe, kick, glide, top arm, bottom arm. You inhale during that bottom arm, but you turn your head with the top arm, inhale with the bottom arm, kick and hold the glide. So with that, usually a swimmer can take that and run with it and just crush it. There are supposedly different types of Bates 922s. Which ones are used? They don't use Bates 922s anymore. At least for buds, they don't. They use Nike Combat Gen 2. So there you go. They used to use the black Jungle Boot 922. How often do coordinators, instructors restrict guys from swimming the CSS with a breaststroke kick? Additionally, is it rare for guys to be forced to swim with their weak side for the PST? Great question. You know what? There's no consistency to my answer with that. I've seen it, unfortunately, like people say, you got to face me the whole time during your CSS or during your 500-yard swim. So every length is a different side. I've seen it where you can't do dolphin kicks off the wall. I've seen it where you can't do a breaststroke kick and you got to do a scissor kick. But those are not really written rules on test taking. They're just arbitrary rules that sometimes they throw at you, which is unfortunate because it needs to be more consistent. McDonald's is more consistent with their menu than SEAL recruiters are with their CSS swimming testing. So, the way I look at it is this. I look at it as they want to see how you handle change, because I have seen, if I was to tell somebody, they put it this way, they've been practicing push-ups on a fist for months, right? And I say, all right, you're just going to touch your chest to the ground now. No more fist. I've seen guys actually get up and quit right there and leave. So I think a lot of instructors have found little ways to get under people's skin, and they like to see what gets them riled up. So my recommendation is whatever rule they throw at you, you be able to handle. There aren't too many that they can do um, that can confuse you or screw you up. Just don't be rattled by it and be able to do it. As for recovery tools, what do you make of Normatec boots, power plates? I don't know. I think they're expensive. Be honest with you, I have never used them. Either one of them. I've seen how they work. I've seen people using them. Um, I personally like foam rolling, massage tools, lacrosse balls, car buffers, and stretching. Ice. I don't mind ice. I think, or cold water, I should say. I don't necessarily need ice, but definitely like cold water immersion. That's always a good way to at least feels good temporarily. I'm not too big into that. I did write an article on some recovery tools, and I probably even mentioned those in there. Tools, Stu Smith. Let me see. I think Jeff Nichols and I did a podcast on it as well. In fact, we're supposed to do another one tomorrow, shortly after this tomorrow's live when I do a CSS. Let's see. If you guys check out this is kind of like a massive article that has tons of links on it with articles and podcasts on the topic of recovery tools and de-stressing and using mobility and nutrition and sleep as your number one and number two recovery tools. I would say this: if you look at a pie chart of recovery, sleep is going to be 50% of it, nutrition is going to be 40% of it, and then that missing 10% that you're looking for is probably everything else that you do. So, in a nutshell, nutrition and sleep is going to be your number one, number two recovery tool. What's the average age of people going through Army Special Forces? I don't know. I went to a graduation recently, so I can just tell you about those who graduated. Um, they ranged quite significant from 20 years old to, I think the oldest guy was like 38, and everybody in between. I would say they're a little more mature overall. I'd probably say 25, between 25 and 28 is probably an average. That's just my guess, though. And that's just me looking at people saying, oh, he's 30 years old. But I don't have the exact numbers. I'm sure somebody can tell you that in the Army, maybe a recruiter. But even them, they may not know. I don't know. Can you go over a week of 20 miles for focusing just on the mile and a half? Yeah. Have you not read this article? This is a great article just on that whole topic, Matt. It's called Running Plan to Get You to and Through Selection on a 6-minute mile pace and a 7-minute mile pace. Day 1 is a goal pace run. Day 2 is moderate mixed with speed, hills, sand, stairs. Kind of a leg day of running. Goal pace on Wednesday. Day off of running. Do some mobility work, swim, work on other types of cardio. Friday is legs and lungs, lots of PT, leg squats and lunges with mixed with running. Saturdays, longer distance runs, and goal pace stuff. So anyway, check out this article because it is a whole 6-week plan of 20 miles a week. And it doesn't progress at all. It's 20 miles a week with different types of running each week. Each day of the week that changes up each week and gets a little bit harder, focusing on pace, not necessarily distance. Good question, though. On the subject of age, for guys in their late 20s, how difficult is it for them to get SOAS slots or SEAL Challenge contracts? Not too crazy. In fact, there are 2 guys that are local here, I know, that are OCS SOAS candidates this summer, and they are 28 years old. So it happens. We'll see if they get selected. Thoughts on CrossFit workouts to develop work capacity? I don't have any problem with that. I think they work pretty well for that. I think they're not the only answer. I think CrossFit workouts are great warm-ups to spec ops level training. So do a CrossFit workout for 30, 40 minutes and then spend more of your time running, swimming, rucking, adding some calisthenics to that day, depending on what you did that morning. But I don't have a problem with that. CrossFit's a great tool. So is the TRX, so sandbags, so's kettlebells, so's triathlon training. It really depends on kind of depends on your athletic background and what you actually need to do. All right. So I'm going to shut it down because it's gone over an hour. That was quick. Tomorrow we'll do some CSS critiques. So submit them if you want me to critique them. You can email me, stu@stewsmith.com, or you can DM me on my Instagram, which is stewsmith50. Also, I tend to post a lot of CSS. In fact, that's all it is. CSS critique page is over at TikTok, stewsmith50. But you can go there. You don't need the app on your phone. You can go there on your computer and just type in this address, tiktok.com/@ Stu Smith 50, and you will see a ton of stuff. In fact, let me just share my screen here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is my TikTok page, and it's nothing but me talking about CSS. Basically, I am voiceover critiquing people who swim the CSS. And if you look on here, I think there was an earlier question about, are there any perfect swim videos out there? Yes. In fact, I label them. Like this one right here says, perfect, smooth as fast. They see another perfect, easy day. Smooth CSS, nice CSS. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different, smooth as fast. And then there's also a bunch of corrections in here too, like you got to fix your kick or fix your glide, or there's a good CSS, nice CSS, sub 8 pace, CSS with fins, a whole bunch of different types of critiques that you can just watch, and just me fixing people's swim or not fixing it because it's perfect. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for sticking around. If you guys did stick around, you want to go to StuSmithFitness.com. Check out the Compete 20 code right here at the bottom. Compete 20 saves 20%. Stu Smith Fitness. I appreciate your time. Tomorrow I will be back, and we'll do some CSS critiques and take more questions. So have a good one, and until next time, see you tomorrow.